Hi, welcome to the second day, part 2 of making this art journal page. If you remember, yesterday we did the background using alcohol inks on a gel plate. So that part's done, and we'll work on the background again probably around step 4 or day 4 of these videos. But today what we're going to be doing is the image part, which is this one, and this one. Can you see? They're actually done on tissue paper. So all you need for today is some tissue paper, archival ink. I've got the stamps from the stamp set. This is what the stamp set looks like. I'm out of stock at the moment of this stamp set, but I will be getting it back in. It's called Retro Beach, and the lady is from Take the Plunge, which is a gorgeous vintage lady. So we're going to stamp onto the tissue paper and then colour in the back of it with white paint. The paint I'm using is Dina Wakley. You can use gesso if you like. I just prefer to use Dina Wakley white paint. No particular reason. I'm just looking around for a stamping block to put my stamp on, like this. So there's my retro lady. I had mounted this one. I've kept it flat, and I've just put some non-permanent tape onto my block, which is sticky, and I put my stamp on there. Other ways that you can attach it is with a little bit of glue or double-sided tape or something like that. It will all work just fine. Or you can mount it onto some backing. That's fine too, whichever is what makes you comfortable. So just go with that. The tissue paper. Usually when you feel the tissue paper, there's a definite shiny side and more chalky side or textured side. What we're going to be doing is stamping onto the shiny side. So, and the reason for that is because on the other side, when you stamp, the ink bleeds out through the fibres. When you stamp onto the shiny side of the tissue paper, the image stays put. All right, so let's go down to the table. It's a bit later in the day today, so the light's on. I like to twist the ink on and then tap it out. I've tried lots of different ways. This one works best for me. There's my, just double check, that's my shiny side. And stamp her down like that. Beautiful. I'm going to take her off, and I've got 2 more images to stamp out, and I think I can put them both on. No, I'll do them one at a time. Best not to try something new while I'm demoing. These are 2 more images that I've used on the art journal page. One is from a lady sitting on a beach with her son, sunbaking. That's her there. And this one is like a mother and daughter posing for the camera. And it's more like a postage stamp style of stamp, this one. So pretty. All right, give it a good press and lift. So this is all I've done. I've stamped it onto the shiny side of the tissue paper. Now, I'll just quickly dry that. Sorry for the noise. Okay, now I'm going to turn that over, and we're going to be painting onto the back of the image, which is onto the fibrous side. So to do that, I'm just using some white paint, putting it there on my craft sheet. Spritz with just a little bit of water to thin the paint out. This Dina Wakley paint is a heavy bodied paint, so to make it a little bit looser and easier to work with, you just need a couple of squirts of paint. And for what we're doing, this is perfect. I'm using a water brush, which we have at Ink Art Designs, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to colour in the people. So let me see. The lady, I'm just colouring her in and her son so that the bodies are white. Try and stay between the lines for this one. It just looks nice. I might do the seashell as well. That's up in the corner, or part of it. Now the white paint will go through underneath, so what you need to do is wipe that off. I'll use my hand because I haven't got any paper towel with me. And you do the same thing on the other images, and then I'll show you what they look like when I finish painting. Oh, and the reason that I'm checking the craft sheet every now and then is because the white paint seeps through the tissue paper because it's so thin. And what happens when it seeps through, if there's white paint on your craft sheet, when you shift it and put another image on top, then you get the white marks coming through onto the front of your image. So to avoid that, you've just got to check every now and then. I'm kind of in the habit of just checking, so it's not a big issue for me. But when you're just starting out, it's something that you need to try and remember, just to check the craft sheet. I suppose once you've had it go through, you'll soon learn, won't you? That's how I learned. Oops. Oops was because I didn't go between the lines. But it should be fine. And I'm using a really fine brush. I'm not worrying about the towel on this image. I'm sticking to the skin. Oh, I just did her bathers. You could do the towel if you wanted to. I suppose we could do the towel, it won't hurt. Then it's all the same. There we go. Nearly done. And a bit over there. Right, and wipe your craft sheet. So this is what we have. The lady that's been coloured in white. Can you see? And these images up the top, we've just coloured, sorry, we've just coloured the people in white. What will happen with our art journal later on this week is when we attach our tissue paper to our art journal page, you'll see the white blocks out any colour from the back, and the colour where we haven't put paint comes through the tissue paper, which gives it that lovely, lovely natural look. White skin, and then the colours from the background come through everywhere else. So that's how we get that look. You can dry this with a heat gun. Just not too much. Because tissue paper is really fine, you know, it's see-through, what you'll find is you can scorch it very easily. Oh, back down to the table. I'll show you what we do next. And then we're done. What I'm going to do is get some water, put it on my craft sheet, and then with another brush, I'm going to paint some water and pull the tissue paper away and dry. Draw with the water, pull it apart and dry. And paint and pull it apart and dry. The reason I'm drying each time I'm doing it is so that the water doesn't accidentally go somewhere else, because once there's water on your tissue paper, it becomes, oh, look at that. Just pulls apart. So you don't want the water going where you don't want the water to go. And then I bring it in closer. So the first time around, I just give it a rough outline with the water, and then I go in and pull it away with my fingernails. If you wanted to be more exact, you could go in with a pricker tool. Sure, it has a technical name. I can't think what the pricker tool would be called. And you just, little bit by little bit. I've done this 100 times, so there we go. And that's what we've got so far. Nice jagged edges. I think that the frayed edges will give a lovely natural look rather than having a cut edge. I think sometimes when people do a cut edge on tissue paper, it looks like a cut edge. You can see the cut edge. When you do it with water and pull it apart, what happens is you get a lovely fibrous edge, and that fibrous edge hides the tissue paper just that little bit more. Strange as it sounds, once you do it, you'll know exactly what I mean. And I'm just pulling it apart with my finger, well, fingernails actually, working it up there. Doesn't take a lot of water, and I think once you've had a go at this, you'll realise just how little water it takes. Now I've got water up on my tissue paper, so I'm going to put that one aside for now because I don't want to wreck it. And now all I've got is one more image to go, and let's just go like that to get the bulk away. I keep going to put the brush in the paint. Did you notice that? And then we can go back in closer in little bits, just like that, cutting it away and then bringing it in. Just bring it in slowly. I think when you do this in little bits, you'll have a lot more success. The finer the brush, the better. But I really like to get this one quite close. If I take a little bit of the grass off, I'm not really concerned. It's only grass, you know, nothing to be too fussy about. And dry. It does help if you've got fingernails, just a little bit. But like I said, if you haven't got fingernails, one of those pricker tools will do just fine. I'd say that when you're using a pricker tool though, don't do it on a craft sheet, do it on, put the water on there and then do the pricker tool down there on your craft mat. Otherwise, if you do the pricker tool up on your craft sheet, you might end up with holes everywhere on your craft sheet. And there we go, nearly done. Nearly done. I had the tissue paper was gifted to me by a friend in Geelong. Plus there was another shop that I used to shop at who had wonderful tissue paper. And what I mean by wonderful tissue paper is that when you put the glue on it, which we'll be doing later on, the tissue paper just melts into the background. Some tissue papers you can sort of have that milky look to them, and when you get a good tissue paper, one that just melts into your background, well, that's the shop you want to go shopping at as often as you can. But this was gifted to me. So what I've got now are my 3 elements, like that. Can you see? So you stamp the image onto the shiny side of your tissue paper, then you turn it over and paint the person, and I painted the towel as well. And then I've used water around the edge and pulled it away with my fingernail, and I've gone as close to the image as I can. I can probably go in a little bit closer and I might fiddle with that later. But for now, I think that is all that needs to be done for our preparation, and there are our 3 images done, ready for later on this week. I hope you've decided to join in on this art journal class. If you haven't got this stamp set, that's okay. You might have another beachy one. You might have one that has seashells, seahorses, fish. It would look nice just done with flowers. So turn it into the theme that you've got stamps for. I think that would be the easiest way. I'm using the one, because I'm on the Rubber Dance design team, I'm using the Rubber Dance stamps, and this is one of my favourites, and I've had it for about 5 or 6 years, so love using this every now and then if I can. Yesterday it was alcohol ink on a gel plate. Today it's the tissue paper. Tomorrow we're going to work on the shells. So then we'll have our bits and our shells ready for our background. The day after we'll finish off the background, and then we'll put the whole thing together. So hopefully by the end of the week we'll have this page done. I hope you've enjoyed today and learnt something new and something to have a go at. It only takes 5 minutes. Okay, see you tomorrow.